Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Sergeant Warwick Campbell. We warmly welcome the family of Flying Officer Rolla Maxwell Cooke, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family, visitors, and by students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, Wamberal Public School, and from Queensland, Ipswich Grammar Primary School. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flying Officer Rolla Maxwell Cooke. Rolla Cooke was born in November 1917, the only child of Lionel and Ellen Cooke of Mossman, New South Wales. His grandfather, Professor William Cooke, had been the New South Wales Government astronomer and Professor of Astronomy at Sydney University. His father had obtained his pilot's licence in 1915 and served with the Royal Flying Corps during the First World War. After attending Sydney Grammar School, Rolla worked as a bank officer at the Bank of New South Wales in Sydney and paraded part-time with the 52nd Anti-Aircraft Company at Middlehead. Rolla enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force Reserve in April 1940. While waiting to be called up for the Citizens Air Force, he married Betty Mossman Harrison at St Thomas Church in North Sydney after a week-long engagement. Rolla began full-time service with the Royal Australian Air Force in September 1940 and trained as a pilot under the auspices of the Empire Training Scheme. After initial training at Bradfield Park, he completed elementary flying training school at Tamworth and service flying training school at Amberley in Queensland. In February 1941, while learning to fly the CAC Wirraway at Amberley, Rolla was involved in a forced landing when the aircraft lost fuel pressure. Both he and his flight instructor were able to walk away from the incident without injury. Rolla sailed for the United Kingdom to join the Royal Air Force Fighter Command in March 1941. Upon arrival, he was posted to number 57 Operational Training Unit at RAF Howerton in Wales to gain experience in learning to fly the single-seater Hawker Hurricane fighter aircraft. In September 1941, Rolla was posted to number 145 Squadron RAF based at Catterick Airfield in North Yorkshire, which was re-equipping with Supermarine Spitfires while retaining pilots and conducting patrols of the North Sea in preparation for a move to the Middle East Theatre of Operations. On the afternoon of the 4th of November 1941, Rolla's aircraft, Spitfire P7624, crashed while climbing after taking off from Catterick Airfield. According to his family, the landing gear on Rolla's aircraft had not been retracted properly. The issue was fixed, and Rolla was instructed by ground crews to give the Spitfire a vigorous test fly. Upon climbing to 400 feet, Rolla began performing aerobatics and lost control of the aircraft, which dived and crashed. RAF crash investigators later determined that the starboard undercarriage leg had failed to retract, which had led to low airspeed stall and crash of the aircraft, killing Rolla instantly. A letter written by the minister of the St Stephen's Church of Willoughby to the RAAF authorities tells something of the impact of Rolla's loss to his young wife, Betty. The letter reads, "I broke the news of the accidental death in England to the wife of Pilot Officer Rolla Maxwell Cooke, as notified in the official telegram of yesterday. I was able to offer Christian condolences to the young widow. It is a very sad case. She's expecting her first babe in about a month's time. She was wonderfully brave." Rolla never got to meet his son David. Aged 23 when he died, Rolla is buried at Catterick Cemetery in Yorkshire near the airfield where he died. A small epitaph written by his grieving parents and widow appears on his headstone. His duty nobly done. Rolla's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flying Officer Rolla Maxwell Cooke, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere, or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.